So we're going to start out this week talking about color because we're going to be applying color to our logos this week. So color can set a mood. It can attract attention, make a statement. You can use color to energize or to cool down. And by selecting the right color scheme, you can create an ambiance of elegance, warmth, tranquility. You can convey an image of playful youthfulness. So really, color is your most powerful or one of your most powerful design elements. And so you really need to learn to use it effectively. Um, because color will really affect us in numerous ways. It affects us mentally, physically, and being able to use colors consciously and harmoniously can help you create spectacular results. So there's different models that you use in graphic design. The first model is called additive. And with additive, you have three primary colors: red, green, and blue. And these three primary colors mixed in various amounts create all the other colors possible. If you mix two of the primaries, red and green, in exact equal amounts, you get what's called a secondary color. And those secondary colors are yellow, magenta, and cyan. And in the additive model, if you mix all the colors together at the most intense possible number, so that would be on a scale from 0 to 255, which we use in Photoshop. If you put 255 red, 255 green, and 255 blue together, you would get pure white. We also use what's called the subtractive model in design. And this model is only used when we go and get our designs commercially printed. And this model is starting out with actually four colors: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. The only reason they include black in the subtractive model is because they can't get a true rich black by mixing cyan, magenta, and yellow together. They get kind of a dark, muddy brown. So they add black in, pure black, so that you're not going to have that muddy brown in your print. But it's kind of similar to the additive model. Cyan, magenta, and yellow are the primaries. Red, green, and blue are your secondaries for this model. And then if you were to add the three primaries together in the most intense amount, you would get pure black, theoretically. But like I said, they don't actually get pure black, so they have to add it in. So color changes and shifts depending on light. So light is really what color is all about. So light affects color in many ways. And we tend to think of objects as having fixed colors. For example, an apple is red. If I ask my 8-year-old to draw me a picture of an apple, she's always going to draw that apple red. In reality, an object's appearance results from the way it reflects the particular light that is falling on it. So under white light, the apple appears red because it tends to reflect light in the red portion of the spectrum and absorb light of other wavelengths. If a filter is used to remove red from the light source, the apple will reflect very little light and appear black. And so the fact that the color makeup of light can change means that shifts can occur in the color appearance of objects illuminated by it. So the brain will compensate for this and tend to see things as we expect them to appear. That's why my daughter paints that or draws that apple red, and why she'll always draw grass green, because we want to kind of maintain control and respond to objects and have associations with objects in our environment. It's called the color constancy effect. So as a designer or an artist, you kind of work against that and you try and see the literal color that's in the natural world and to see how that changes depending on the light source. And this has been going on for centuries. Fine artists have done all these experiments with the light and how the color changes as light hits a certain object, a building, or a person. And so this is just a study done, same frame here. We're painting a building and we're looking at it at different times of day. And this is the dramatic difference you get at different times of day throughout the year. So color really changes also by other colors that are placed next to it. So in graphic design, you always want to create some basically a color model for yourself where you will select your colors. You might put like rectangular squares in Illustrator right next to each other, where you kind of figure out which colors you want to use, Then you place them next to each other to see how they affect each other before you even start to put them into the design or artwork. So it's really important that you notice that how they shift, how they change. They can either make each other pop or they can mute a color depending on the color next to it. Here is a model used by fine artists. So for this model, we might be using the paint pigments used by fine art painters, and our primaries are yellow, blue, red, and our secondaries are orange, green, and violet. And notice those third level colors right there. So those colors are tertiary or third level, and they're created by just all by mixing the three primaries together in various amounts.